The Fall, a story of choices, consequences, and redemption. The narrative begins with an encounter between humanity and the serpent, a being described as craftier than any other creature that the Lord God had made. The serpent's question to Eve, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" carries an insidious tone, subtly sowing doubt in her heart and mind. Eve's response reflects her understanding of God's command, yet the serpent persists, offering her an alluring alternative. "You will not certainly die, for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." This moment is pivotal. It reminds us that temptation often plays to our desire for wisdom and autonomy. Eve's gaze fixes on the forbidden fruit. It is pleasing to the eye, desirable for nourishment, and seemingly promising wisdom. In that moment, the allure of the immediate reward overrides the divine instruction. She eats and shares the fruit with Adam, who follows suit. Their disobedience marks a dramatic turning point, opening their eyes not to divine wisdom, but to shame and vulnerability. They sew fig leaves together, attempting to cover their newfound awareness of nakedness. As believers, this act calls us to reflect deeply on the choices we make. What forbidden fruits do we find alluring in our lives? And when faced with decisions that may have profound implications, do we pause long enough to consider the weight of our choices? In the cool of the day, the Lord God walks in the garden, yet Adam and Eve, once freely communing with him, now hide among the trees. God's question, "Where are you?" resonates not just physically but spiritually. It asks not only where they are, but how far they have strayed from him. Adam and Eve's confessions are layered with fear and blame. Adam points to Eve, and Eve points to the serpent. When God asks us, "Where are you?" how do we respond? Do we hide, or do we stand in the grace of confession? God's words to the serpent, Eve, and Adam outline the consequences of their actions. To the serpent, he proclaims a curse, a life of crawling and enmity between the serpent's offspring and humanity's. Yet even in the punishment, God lays the foundation for hope, the ultimate defeat of the serpent by the offspring of the woman. Eve's consequence is marked by increased pain in childbearing and a relational dynamic wrought with tension. Adam's burden lies in toil, the ground cursed, his labor necessary to provide sustenance. Both will return to the dust from which they were formed. This is a sobering moment, reminding us of the weight of sin not just within ourselves, but on the creation around us. Yet here too we see a glimmer of hope. Beyond the judgment lies the possibility of restoration, reminding us that God's plans are never wholly about destruction but redemption. Before sending humanity out of Eden, God makes garments of skin for Adam and Eve, providing them with better coverings than their own fig leaves. This act of compassion underscores his mercy and grace even in judgment. Though the relationship has been marred, his care for his creation remains steadfast. For those in faith, this moment points forward to a greater act of covering, Christ's sacrifice on the cross. Just as God clothed Adam and Eve in their shame, so too does Christ offer us a robe of righteousness when we turn to him. Lastly, God removes Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden. To many, this banishment may seem harsh, a separation from paradise, but within it lies an act of protection. By preventing access to the tree of life, God spares humanity and eternity bound in sin. As we reflect on this event, we are reminded of the tension between God's justice and his mercy. We are also encouraged to trust in his greater plan, even when it feels like we are being led away from what seems good. Often, what may appear as lost today is part of a divine preparation for greater spiritual restoration. The story of the fall is far more than an ancient tale. It is a mirror to our own lives. It invites us to reflect on our desires, contemplate the consequences of our choices, and marvel at the mercy and hope intertwined with God's justice. For religious communities, this narrative serves as a profound reminder of human vulnerability, the weight of sin, and the boundless love of a Creator who seeks to restore what was broken. As we revisit this story, let us remember that every fall holds within it the seed of redemption. Just as God called to Adam and Eve, he calls to us, "Where are you?" Let us emerge from our hiding places, acknowledging our flaws, and embrace the grace that covers, renews, and leads us back to him.